Hey there, how's it going? I'm just out here getting some miles in because that's kind of what I wanted to talk about a little bit for my pre-hike video is twaining, that blessed event. Twaining is what brings us together today. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there, but yeah, training. That's why I'm out here, and that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. Training. So before I get on the subject right away, I just wanted to put in there that this will be the first video where I try to do all the editing on the phone, because that's how I'm going to have to do it when I'm out on the PCT. So I kind of have to learn how to edit using the little editor I have on my phone, not the laptop I normally use, because I'm not bringing that with me. So if this doesn't seem as, I don't know, edited as well or polished as some of the other ones I do, that's why I'm kind of learning a new editor, but I've got to figure it out, because that's how I'm going to be able to post on YouTube from the trail, is using that editor. So here we go. Training. The big question for some people, believe it or not, I know there's others are like, what are you talking about? Of course you have to, is do you train or not? If you're going to be doing a big through hike, can you just get out there and just do it? Well, and the actual answer, trying not to be too wishy-washy, is it kind of depends. If you are a regular hiker and you're able to do hiking all the time and you're in really good shape, then you don't necessarily have to do any specific training. You just kind of keep doing what you're doing. Keep hiking and doing that kind of stuff before you actually hit the trail, and you should be all right. If you are like me and who does do hiking, but you're not in the greatest shape, you're overweight or something like that, it would behoove you, how's that for a word, to get out there and do some miles and things. And for me, when I just want to do miles, this is what it is. I do the old levee roads. There's plenty out here by me. So I get out on the levee roads and I get some miles in. Today I'll do 6 or 7 miles and things like that. The only problem with that is, especially if you're training for the Pacific Crest Trail, is the Pacific Crest Trail is all about climbing and elevation and things like that. And out here in the middle of the Central Valley where I live, there's no opportunity for that. I end up having to go, I don't know if you can see it in the background, probably not on this, but Mount Diablo is sitting out there with a slight dusting of snow on it right now. And those hills around Mount Diablo are pretty much my only opportunity for training in the hills. They're about probably a 45-minute drive away from me, so I do head over there and get training in there when I can, but sometimes my family schedule and stuff doesn't let me do that kind of drive out of town and then be back in time for certain things. So when I do, I just get some miles in here on the levee roads, and that does help me. It gets my feet used to everyday walking and things like that. But is it optimal? Probably not, but it's better than nothing, and so I use it that way. So my opinion, if you can train, you should train, because remember, it's going to be an everyday thing, and you should be training for that. You got to get your body used to it. The other thing that training allows you to do is test out some of the stuff that you maybe don't normally use. Like, for example, I was a dyed-in-the-wool hiking boot type of guy. I was happy with my Targhee 2s. I even did a gear review on them. Still happy with them. I think they're great. But for this longer through hiking, I start hearing all the stuff about trail shoes, trail runners, and things like that. So I'm just going to give it a try, see what it is. So I tried a pair of Hoka One One trail runners, the Stinson 4.0s, and I really like them. Their padding is amazing. They're very light. They're very comfortable. They handle the miles, and I think they'll do well on a decently groomed trail like the PCT can be, and they'll hold themselves up fine in the parts of the PCT that aren't so groomed. I think they'll work just fine. So I'm going with those. And that gave me a chance to try them out, doing this kind of training, and I've taken them up in the hills and things like that just to see how they felt for the longer miles, going up hills, down hills, and I like them, and so that gave me a chance to switch. Other thing today, I finally in the mail got my darn tough socks, and so I'm trying them today to see if they're going to work well with the Hokas, how I like them, do they feel right? I hope so, because those suckers are expensive, but they say once you buy a pair of darn toughs, you got them for life. Because if you find a way, those of you who don't know, if you find some way to wear a hole in those things, you just let the company know and they'll send you another pair. No questions asked. So that's pretty cool. So far, I'm pretty happy with them. They feel good. So they're probably going to be what I use on the trail. So training lets you train with some of the equipment that you might not have used yet on the trail. If you're not a regular backpacker or hiker, you may not have used any equipment at all. Training allows you to get out there and try this stuff on, because I got to tell you, I probably said it before, but the first time you do something like put up your tent, well, heck, the second and third time you do things like put up your tent or get in your sleeping bag or try this shoe or that shoe should not be your first day on the trail. It really shouldn't. You should be able to set up your tent almost in the dark and know it well enough to do that, know how it sets up, its little quirks and things like that. Almost any gear you have, you need to make sure that it works consistently before you even get out there. If the first time you bring out your cooking stove is day one of after a long day of hiking on the trail, you could be in for some trouble. That's just the potential there. So training isn't just for your body, it's also for your gear. And also, it's not just physical stuff, it's a mentality thing. Just as many people get knocked off the trail for the whole mental thing than they do the physical thing. And training does have a way of helping with that. If you can discipline yourself to get out every day and do some miles, even if it's like me where it's not necessarily mountain miles, but just getting out there every day to do some miles, if you are able to discipline your mind to do that, then you just have that much more of a better chance to keep yourself disciplined on the trail and have things work out for you better there. So that's kind of my short take on training. As far as I'm concerned, yes, training is the thing you should do as best you can before you get out there. Now, does that mean that there aren't people out there who hardly ever backpacked before and didn't do any training at all and jumped on the trail and they did fine, they did the whole trail? Absolutely, there are people like that. But that's the thing, that's what they call, I've talked about it in the hiker homily, that's anecdotal evidence. Just because a person can do that doesn't mean all people can do that. We are all different, we all have different abilities. Some people can just do that, some people cannot. And so why hedge your bets? Why just cross your fingers and hope you're just one of those people that can do it? If you have the opportunity to train, then train. If you absolutely have no opportunity to do it, well, then there's not a whole lot you can do. You just hope for the best. But if you can train, then do some training. It's not going to hurt anything. It's good for you, and it takes away that possibility that maybe you're not one of those special people who can just do it without training and things like that. So that's my take on training. Now I'm going to put in some more miles and then go home and figure out how to edit this thing and hopefully get it out to y'all sometime this week. Hey, thanks a lot, and looking forward to getting on the trail. I'm about 1 month away from my my flight down to San Diego, and then a couple of days after that I'm on the trail and off we go. So we're getting close, and I'm getting things dialed in. I've got a couple of gear. I'm going to kind of break up my gear videos. I'm going to do, like clothing and then the main gear and stuff like that. And then maybe even do another video if I have time to put it together and edit it and stuff on what my meal plans are and things like that. But other than that, a couple of more videos, pre-trail videos coming, basically about gear and stuff like that. And then I'm going to be out there. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you later.